Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Rolling Solo Campaign 3. This is Session 2, as we follow the adventures of Shade and Soot, Lagomorph twins in the world of the Witherwild. Daggerheart as our base system, and we're using the Witherwild campaign frame, which is available on the Daggerheart in playing this. Okay, so last time, what happened? What happened last time is that Shade and Soot met with an elf named Simrock, Tavern in Little Passage. They're convinced to undertake a mission on behalf of Haven. Whoa. Let's back up a little bit. What's Haven? The Witherwild campaign, what's going on, to refresh your memories, is that the city folk of Haven have invaded the surrounding area, which is known as Fainwick, in order to plant an enormous number of flowers. Why do they want to plant an enormous number of flowers? Because only 1 in 10,000 of this particular flower is red. Why do they care about red flowers? They care about red flowers because they are suffering from something called the serpent's sickness that can only be cured by these red flowers. Serpent sickness, it's a horrible disease that makes people's skin rough and then slows their motion and then causes them enormous pain and then petrifies the place. Why they have this disease, it's kind of their own fault. So that's why they are invading the Fainwick and why they are planting an enormous number of flowers. To increase the fecundity of their flowering fields, they have also found one of the small gods of Fainwick, the great owl Nicta, and plucked out one of Nicta's eyes. The owl has a sowing eye and a reaping eye. And this is what allows the seasons to happen in Fainwick. They have plucked out the reaping eye, making it permanent spring. The mission that Simrock wants Soot and Shade, our, for lack of a better word, heroes, to undertake is to stop a mysterious figure known as the Fainwraith from plucking out Nicta's sowing eye. Thus stopping the eternal spring, which is currently running rampant through the Fainwick. The phenomenon called the Witherwild, which is making beasts and everything grow into strange and misshapen forms and causing gigantism in some creatures. Gigantism in some creatures, and is in general just a bad thing. So there's a bad thing happening with the Witherwild currently going across Fainwick. So Soot and Shade meet with Simrock in a tavern in a town of Low Passage. They're convinced to undertake a mission on the behalf of Haven. Simrock pays them a bag of gold each, which is a lot of money for these kids. It convinces them that whatever else might be going on, plucking out the sowing eye is probably not the best plan. And it probably isn't. If yes, having an eternal spring is bad, but having nothing is, who knows what will happen. The Fainwraith is in the town of Alula, which happens to be Soot and Shade's hometown, which is why they have been recruited for this mission, and they make their way to Alula. On the way, they are beset by bandits, which they talk their way out of, and by an acid burrower, which is a creature that normally is about yay big, and insect that burrows in the ground, and in this case was about the size of a horse, and did huge damage to our heroes, knocking Soot out of the fight and forcing Shade to feed him a healing potion at which point they went springing off into the woods and outran the acid burrower. And that's where we are right now. As we enter our scene, we are in, it is nighttime. We are on a trail in the woods. Huge forest with little glowing blossom here and there, providing a dim light for all of us. A bit of moon streaming through the trees. Soot is a lagomorph, which is a fawn in the shape of a jackalope. Big ears, rabbit face, horns that are kind for Soot, male twin of the pair. A little bit taller, dark fur wearing fairly simple homespun clothes, carrying staff. Jade, warlock, sister, a little bit shorter, wearing basically the same outfit. Jade is a little bit lighter in slightly lighter grayer fur. Slightly shorter. Her horns do not have prongs. They are smaller, a little bit more like horns of a female pronghorn. Kind of straight and curved back a little bit with tiny tines. The two of them are sitting panting mightily, and will need to decide where to go. That, sister, why I think we should be possibly rethinking our deal with this Simrock Unli. It seems that stopping the Witherwild would be good for everyone. That acid burrower was not the same kind of insect that we normally see, now was it? No, it wasn't, but Soot, thinking that we don't need to be making any decisions right now. Yet find this Fainwraith. Get in with her organization. Make our decisions then, whether we're going to help her or whether we're going to stop her. Alright. What do we do for now? Not comfortable staying in these woods. I think we need to find a town. I don't think we're too far from Oakgarde. Take ourselves a bit of a rest and make our way there. So they're going to make their way to the town of Oakgarde. Going to take a rest. So, when we take a short rest in Daggerheart, we do a few things. What are those things that we can? We have our downtime moves. We can take for a short rest. Get this rule up. Arg. Add the rules up. I had the downtime rule. So we can do a couple of things. We can regain hope. We can regain fear. We can regain some hope. We can take care of some hit points. We can take care of some stress. Leave Soot as marked 4 hit points. Leave Shade believe that they have each marked 2 stress. And the reason that I have their character sheets up on their character sheets both in physical form and on demiplane, and I forgot my physical sheets. So things are going to be on demiplane, which is a little bit slower, which is unfortunate. I believe Soot has currently 2 hope. I believe Shade is out of it. I think that's where we stopped things last time. I'm just going to go with it and say that that's how things are happening. So it's going to be a little bit slower for me to work with character sheets today because I have to work on demiplane. Apologies. So they're going to take a short rest, and in taking a short rest, they are allowed to heal some hit points, and they are allowed to heal some stress, which is what I think they're going to do. And I am going to gain some fear. There's the short. So, oh, and we have leveled up. So, new abilities and new powers. The level up options that we took, Shade increased her presence and her finesse. Or, sorry, her presence and her knowledge to +3 and +0. And also took extra... Did she take? I don't know. She took one of the other options. She gained the experience Suspicious. Add to I'll Handle It and Protective. And then Soot took an extra hit point and did not increase any of his abilities, but did take that extra hit point and increased his evasion and added a... I want to do that again. Go with look over there. Mischievous. That's what they're doing. Now let's take our short rest. Okay. So for Soot is going to take the move of adding some hit points or clearing some hit points. That is 4. Completely clear points. Soot is going to clear some stress. That's a 1 + 1 for their tier 1. Clear 2 stress. Jade is also going to clear some hit points. Another 4. And Soot is going to clear some... No, Soot has no hope. Sorry, Shade has no hope. So Shade is, instead of clearing her 2 stress, Shade is going to... Oh, Shade is a warlock. Oh, right. Lagomorphs are a custom brewed class, or they're a mixed ancestry that I've added for this particular game. Lagomorphs have Caprine Leap from Fawn, but they also have Celestial Trance from Elf. So both of our characters are going to spend a little bit of time kind of mending their oh yeah, Shade did not mark any armor. Soot has all of their armor. So Soot going to spend some time trancing, calming themselves down. Just sitting quietly by the trail side, back to a tree, breathing slowly, themselves down, move their hit points in the grass. And then, while Shade is trancing, Soot is going there. Let's see what Soot's armor repair looks like. 3. Well, that will repair all of Shade. Cleared some hit points. Because Shade is a warlock, they spend some time. Started out their life with so not used any favor, but during their downtime actions they must compete with their patron to gain favor equal to presence. If they forgo this offering, the DM instead gets a class of the warlock. We're going to reduce hit points. We're going to prepare. So Jade also takes the time to sit, to trance, kind of sit on her haunches, basically, with their digitigrade legs. Drop their heels to the ground and crouch. That's how kind of their sitting stance, their meditative stance. Sits there and thinking herself, calming herself down and getting her hit points back. And this will also count as preparing. And then so Shade's patron, I think I do have Shade's sheet. I do. And according to the sheet, Shade has no stress, so I will make that change on the demiplane. What I don't have on this is... I do. So, Shade's patron is Labora, who is a small god, has the realms of silence. Their spheres of influence. So how do you commune with such a spirit? I think that she finds a insect that is making this is an ever-present sound in the forest. Buzzing of kind of comes in. You know, everyone's heard this chirping noise. It comes up and up and up. Finds one of these chirping insects, cups it. And as it kind of struggles, buzzes, puts pressure on it, stops its wings from slowly grows silent. And as she lets it go, it again springs forth. Kind of gives silence and hope at the same time, and she will gain favor equal to her presence. Her presence 3, she will gain 3 favor. Currently has 6. There's an interesting little tithe button on demiplane. Okay. Okay. And that was her third downtime. I get my downtime move, which is to gain 1 fear. So they take their short rest in making their way to the village of Oakgarde. So does anything happen to them on their way? Oh. Let's roll for it. So we'll say that roll a d12, and we'll just say that if it comes up, roll hope and fear. See what happens. We'll decide what it means. Nope. We're going to say that this forest has a DC 12. And this is their role to navigate without being disturbed by anything else or having any other dangerous encounter. So that's a 10 with fear. We're doing this with Daggerheart rules. One of them would help the other one. But even if they had succeeded, it wouldn't matter. If we call that the roll, it's a 10 with fear. So, I've gained a fear and something bad happens. What happened? Well, have counter table. Something's going to happen to them. Either going to be let's roll a d4. What is it going to be on our d? Actually, let's just draw something from our forest deck and see what it is. Happen to have a deck of cards here from Elements of Inspiration. Fantastic stuff. I'll pick a card. Raiders, a group of humanoids moving through the forest, attacks the characters in a coordinated fashion. Okay. So people have grown desperate here in the Witherwild. Our characters are set upon. We'll go ahead and spend a fear to have them surprised. And I'm going to set up the same encounter that I set up last time. So this encounter is going to be what's here's table. And we're going to add let's have them again. They're not very strong. So we're going to add 1 Let's see how they do just against 4 straight up Jagged Knife. Actually, let's roll for it. We're going to see how difficult this is. $13 is medium, so we are going to just go with 4 Jagged Knife, which I don't know if that's going to be easy or difficult, but it should be. 4 Jagged Knife Bandits. They have 5 hit points each. Have 3 stress each. They attack at 1. And they have the experience of Thief. Have thresholds of 8 and 14 and a difficulty. That's our Jagged Knife Bandits. There are 4 of them. I have spent my fear for their first attack. First bandit is going to attack evens and odds. Shade is evens. Even. Bandit is going to attack Shade from above. A. So these are 4 bandits. We are, Soot and Shade are going through the forest along this trail in the lights. They do not notice the shadowy figures following them from tree to tree. First bandit that we see, we're just going to give them all the same. Say the bandits are a single ancestry. Is 11. So it's interesting, you don't usually think of goats as being able to climb trees. These are fawns, they're goats, or goat-like. However, my folks kept goats for a while and still do, and they do actually up into trees. It's kind of wild to see. So there are these fawns crouched in the trees, leaping silently tree to tree, following our heroes, and one of them leaps down to attack. Their passive ability from above, when they succeed on a standard attack on a target, they deal 1d10 plus 1 damage instead of their standard d8. So this is dealing a d10, and this is the Jagged Knife Bandit A, Jade. That is definitely it. That's 15. Strike 4. 7. Jade is minor damage. Shade's going to go ahead and take that armor, but is now in melee. Going to spend another. Have another bandit immediately in Soot. 11. Does 11 hit Soot? Oh, they're +1. That's a 12, and doesn't matter because Soot's evasion is a 12. So an 11 plus 1 just hits, and they do 2 damage, which is also minor damage for Soot, but we'll take that on armor. So that's the Jagged Knife Bandit's turn. What do Shade and Soot do? I think they're going to make an attempt to fight these guys off if they can. And so, what do we have at ability for? Not a good time for Siphon Essence. So Soot is going to first make a spellcast roll. The DC of 10. Use Umbral Veil. Then 1 hope. Well, first they're going to make their spellcast roll, DC 10. That is an 11 plus 6 with hope, so they hope. He gains a hope and makes the roll on a success. So he now has 3 hope. He will spend 1 hope to gain an advantage on his evasion. And because he rolled with hope, it is still with the characters. We'll go to Shade. Shade. Ooh, I forgot that Shade had this. Soot just took, as an ally within close range, took damage from a target that Shade can see. Shade is going to make a reaction roll against that target and attempt to do stress, deal d6 damage to them using the proficiency. So this is a reaction roll, so it doesn't count for hope or fear. And that is a 20-something. So that definitely beats our bandits, who have a difficulty at 12. That definitely attacks the bandit. So let's roll this scene out so far. 2 bandits, 2 fawns have leaped down, stabbing at Soot and Shade with a dagger. Soot and Shade manage to turn so that the blows glance off their armor. Shade turns, her hands glow with a green energy, and the bandit, Soot, will take 2d6. That is 1 and a 1, so they will take 2 damage, which is that's 1 hit point to A, but that was on Shade. Will mark a stress. And now it is Shade's go. So that was Shade's reaction roll. I forgot that she had that abilities, and I'm just gonna let myself have that because there's just a lot to keep track of. And Shade will now attack. I think Shade is just going to use her scepter. Scepter has a melee of D8. So Shade is in melee with this bandit, and turns and just places her scepter out, and it kind of works like a shock stick. So she gestures out to see if she can strike this fawn who is attacking her with her scepter. That is a 17, 18, 19, 20 with hope. Shade will gain a hope, and we'll definitely do the 2d8 damage. See what that is. 1, and not rolling great, am I? 3, that's 4, and it's just 4, so that's 4 damage to Bandit B. Takes 1 hit point of damage. But it's a roll with hope, so I am going to no, I'm not, because all I can do is take the spotlight. I'm just going to have to sit here while they roll. Shade is continuing to struggle with, so Shade. Soot has encased themselves in shadowy energy. and going to simply make a dual staff strike. They're not much of a melee fighter, Soot. You know, very skinny and arrow-like Lagom. But will just hold their quarterstaff out, and it pulses with energy, which they will attempt to strike Bandit. That is 1. That's 11 plus instinct, so that's plus 2, so that's 13, which just hits with hope. Gain a hope and do 2d6 plus 3 magical damage. 5, 3, that's 8, plus 3 is 11. Jagged Knife Bandits are... Their thresholds are 8, 14, so that is severe damage against Bandit number 2. Severe? It's not severe, it's... What's the word I'm looking for here? Major damage, so they will take 2 spotlight moves. Shade, who's got this... we have just seen Shade has like moved out and has touched the Bandit with her scepter, and one shock goes through, and then immediately afterwards, just like bam, bam, a second shock happens, and this time, 7 and 7. So she will gain a hope. It will clear that stress that she just used to do some damage to this Bandit A, and she will do max damage with the scepter, which is going to be 2d8, which is 16, plus 8 for 24, 5 for 29, plus 3 is 32 damage. So on a crit, she does 32 damage, which is severe damage for this guy. I mean, honestly, it's double severe, but I'm not going to play with the optional rule to do 4 hit points on a double severe because it cuts both ways, and my characters are made of. The Bandit B takes 3 hit points of damage. Play remains with the characters. They are just rolling with hope and do about it. I don't have any fear. So I'm just going to look at this like kind of these magical effects are happening so quickly that they're just, bandits don't have time to react. Soot's quarterstaff pulses again rapidly, and that is a failure with hope. So Bandit A manages to spring out of the way of Soot's staff, and then Bandit C is going to descend on Soot. Because I can now take the turn and make a spotlight. Bandit C attacks from above. That is a 14. That will definitely hit Soot. They do... Bandits don't do a lot of damage. They do a d8 of damage, so he will do his d8 damage. 7, 8. That is major damage for Soot. He will take 1 on the armor and 1 for a hit point. So then I'm going to spend a fear. Other fawn. Last fawn. One. Leaping down to attack Fade. And we'll roll. That is a 16. It will definitely hit. That is 7 damage. Oh wait, they roll a d10. 7 damage, which for Shade is not quite major damage. Her threshold is 8. So I'm going to use one of her favors, and this is a warlock ability. There's a thing they can do with their favor. Patron's Mantle. Mark a stress to transform into a terrifying visage that lasts until it takes severe damage of the scene. While transformed, you can spend a favor in place of a armor slot. She hasn't done that yet, so she will take another armor and then comes back to there. Now it comes back to the... So, Soot and Shade are kind of turning back to back. They are surrounded by villains who have not given them any opportunity to converse or discuss or get out of this by any means, but are simply trying to kill them. So the play comes back. Players, you're going to go with Shade starting. Shade again is making a scepter attack, focusing on Bandit B. That is a 15 with hope, and doesn't really need to roll damage on this, but will to D8 1, 2, but Bandit B is drops unconscious. Jade very much doesn't want to kill anyone. She never has killed anyone. She is loath to do so. She is fighting out of fear, desperation. So this is a strike that just comes out with she holds out her scepter almost with her face turned away as these bandits are attacking with knives, and just scepter, the power of her patron comes out to protect her in these 4 quick pulses, which drop this kind of like he had been tased. We now come back to Soot. Soot swings his quarterstaff at Bandit A. That is an 11 plus 2. 11 plus 13 with fear. So he does strike Bandit A. And we'll do 2d6 plus 3 magical damage. 3, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is minor damage. So Bandit A stays up. And let's see, what can these bandits do? They do anything? Yeah, they're not terribly interesting. They mostly just attack with daggers. So that is what Bandit A is going to do now that I have spotlight back. 12 plus 1 is 13. 13 is nope. 12 is Soot's evasion. So Soot will take damage. Bandit does 8. 2, 3, the plus 1 attack. Soot is going to take that on. And then spend a fear. To spotlight another adversary, I will spotlight Bandit C, who is attacking Shade. Sorry, Bandit D, who is attacking Shade. 7, 8. That is below Shade's evasion. Shade manages to just below Shade's evasion. Shade manages to dodge out of the way. Drop one bandit, moves back. The other bandit swings at her, leaps out of the way backwards. Because Shade took damage in the last turn, she is going to make an action roll. Make a reaction roll against target A. Difficulty 12. 15. And then on that, you will mark a stress. You will do D6 magical damage. That's 6. That is minor damage. That will drop. So, gotta remember about that feeling. Stop letting myself call it back in just a minute. Bandit A stabs at Soot. Again, this glances off of Soot's leather armor. I believe Soot's. One of them has leather, one of them. Sorry, so the knife gets kind of tangled up in Soot's gambeson armor, and as that strike happens, Shade, who is super protective of her big brother, always wants to have his back, sees this happen and instinctually flings out a hand, and again that burst of energy comes. Her hand strikes outward and Bandit A drops to conscious. 2 bandits are dropped, 2 bandits are up, and play it with Shade. Make attack. So Shade will. Again, I don't think. I think she's going to make a blighting strike against Bandit C, who is the bandit who is attacking Soot. Strike. That is a 13, 14, 15. Enough. 16 with fear, so I gain a fear. And this will do. I succeeded with fear, so they take D10 magic damage. So Bandit C will take 2d10 of damage. That is 4. That's 3. That is 7. They take 7 damage, which is below their threshold. So Bandit C takes a minor wound. But the next time they do damage, their damage is reduced by d6. So Bandit C will now attack Soot and will miss 8. Spend a fear to have Bandit D attack Shade. And 11, which I believe is Shade's evasion, so that will hit Shade's. Bandit, as Shade's attention is turned, as she turns away from Bandit D, the bandit attacking her, and instead moves to, takes her scepter and fires off a burst of energy at Bandit C, who is attacking her brother. She is stabbed from behind by, and I forgot to do her class feat. Okay, she will take a d8 of damage. 1 damage. Boom, her last armor slip. So, but with that, we come back to the players, and I'm going to do this while I'm remembering. She is going to take on her patron's mantle. Never done this before either. She's going to mark a stress. And she is going to take on... do this anytime. This is not... she is going to... Okay. Sorry. All right. Sorry. Okay. So, she activates her patron's mantle. She takes on a hideous shape. I don't think that Soot has ever seen this before, but this friendly-looking jackrabbit suddenly grows different kind of mouth. Instead of, having bunny teeth, she now has these hideous fangs. Her ears kind of erupt in this kind of sickly pale green flame. Her shadows dance across her body as she takes on patrons and turns to Bandit C, just growls at them, going to attempt to intimidate. I'm going to spend a hope to use I'll handle it as an experience, and we'll see what happens. And she rolls with advantage. So this is Bandit D that she's telling to run. That is a 5 plus 4 is 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15 with fear. Gain of fear. Bandit is going to run because that's a success, but they're going to take another strike before they go. So the bandit dashes backwards, and as they leave, they fling their dagger at Shade, missing the four. Leaving Bandit C, who is attacking Soot. Seeing that they're alone, I think they too will withdraw and just fling a dagger at Soot as they leave. 4, 10, 11, and then that is below Soot's evasion. Soot will, that dagger strike will miss as well. Soot and Shade are left with 2. They're left with 2 bandits. Unconscious on the ground in front of them, and 2 bandits who have run off. So that was a relatively easy encounter. Our heroes managed to, at tier 1, take on 4 tier 0 easy adversaries without taking much damage. They did take some damage. So they're maybe not as well off as they could be. Let's see, how long have we been streaming? We've been streaming for 54 minutes, so we are going to loot the unconscious bandits. They will have D10 handfuls of gold on. So our heroes managed to pull out some gold. Yet they get 5 handfuls of gold. So I'm going to give 3 of those handfuls to Soot. 2 of those handfuls to Shade. And they make their way forward. Will end as they enter the town of Oakgarde. Town that is primarily by humans. So this is the predominantly human town of Oakgarde. It has obviously other ancestries in it, but most of the people that you would see around are human. So we'll stop with them coming in on the outskirts of town. Be where we close the session. So, well, that was fun. It's a little better to see, like, kind of where we can to use more of our characters' abilities there. Kind of test out the Witch and the Warlock against a fight that they should win. And did. So that's nice. Okay. So with that, that's the end of Rolling Solo for today. Thank you very much for watching. We've watched to this point. And hey, keep rolling.